Cool. Good evening, everyone. So good to have you with us this evening. Oh, we're in for a treat. It's going to be a good one. So pumped for what we've got coming up for us. We've got Michael joining us, who's got gold every time he shares. I've got a few bullet points. I'm sure some of you are going to get some value from. But first off, huge welcome to our new team members who have joined us this week. If I name names, I'm going to miss someone. But guys, I just feel like the last month we've just been riding this incredible wave of just welcoming new people into the fam. So good to have you guys all with us, joining us from all over the world, really. I know some guys are here live right now, which is always fun. But some of you are watching this around the world later on YouTube. So just want to say thinking of all of you. And yeah, guys, just so blessed and so privileged to be running with you all in this space. So let me get Spotify out of the way quickly. There we go. Cool. Now I can see what I'm doing. But yeah, guys, this evening, I mean, it's December, right? There we go. And I was just thinking in the build up while I was walking around in circles with my 2-year-old right above there, pretty much about 20 minutes ago, just thinking about tonight, just thinking about this year and just reflecting on just this crazy amount of gratitude that I have for just, you know, we had our staff lunch today as well. And we're just thinking about like where we were at the beginning of the year in a church context and the end of the year. And it's just one of the most profound years in terms of starting somewhere and finishing somewhere. Whether or not that's the same for your own situation, wherever you are, just leaning into that gratitude in a huge way and just believing that it's not going to stop, like really believing that 2023 is going to be even bigger. So, and if you're not believing that, well, you'll probably get that. But there's the challenge in that is what are you seriously believing for next year? And I was thinking a bit about, you know, stereotypically people do New Year's resolutions. I've never been a fan of them. Sorry to pop that balloon if that's your thing. But I studied a lot of Tim Ferriss a few years ago. He's most famous for a book called The 4-Hour Workweek, 4-Hour Body, Tools of Titans, etc. Just a genius guy who loves to interview clever people. And he had this thing where he shot down that idea of New Year's resolutions and he leans more into this thing called past year reviews. And so he will go and look at his calendar for the year that he's just had, usually around November, December-ish, and he'll have a look in detail, look at the meetings, look at the people, look at the events, and have a really good think about, you know, who added value to his life, where did he feel like he added the most value, where did he feel like he received the most value, and what needed to be trimmed and what needed to be doubled down on. Like what kind of people does he need to spend more time with and who has to have maybe less time. And just some, you know, thought-provoking stuff for ourselves is instead of just thinking about the things you want to change, start by reflecting on, you know, what was 2022 like for me? What were the things that really caused me to grow, accelerate the most? You know, what were the circumstances or the events or the people that caused me to be the most challenged, experience the most growth, etc. And get intentional, guys. Write them down. Like, I've got notes in front of me with these kinds of questions, and these are the kinds of things I reflect on and journal on. And so yeah, making sure I'm not missing what I'm talking about. But yeah, that idea of just, yeah, a year in review, taking the time to really reflect. Like, you know, December is pretty crazy for most, but just want to challenge you, take a moment, like take 20 minutes where you can, you know, maybe it's the last thing you do before going to bed or the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning, but have a solid think about like, okay, what was this year like? Like, I know it's pretty crazy, but at the same time, like what were the things that really added the most value? What gave me the most amount of hope? What gave me the most amount of momentum? At the same time, where was I able to show up and give the most and experience the most amount of impact and influence in that sense? So yeah, guys, something to think about. I mean, for me personally, if I get really practical about it, like for me, sheesh, this year's been massive. But at least if I'm gonna nail down one thing, like it was a huge phase step for me, but getting over to Arizona and going to the Academy event was unreal. Like for me, I mean, I shared it on here and with my wife when I came home. I genuinely feel like I came back a different person because I got to spend a week with people that are just like miles ahead of me, but running in the direction I feel called to. And spending time around those people just caused me to feel like I got to physically experience that which I feel called to step into in a bigger way. And so coming back from that, I mean, just experienced a ton of momentum since then in September. And so for me, doubling down on that means making the effort in 2023 to get to events. So I am officially making the effort to get to Miami to Alex Morton's event in like 37 days. I might be getting that wrong, but it was about 40 odd a few days ago. But yeah, I'm absolutely pumped. And at the same time, it's gonna cost me a heap. But I know, like for me, getting into that space, you know, people like Alex Morton, Greg Reno, like Richard Ustra, people that have poured a whole lot into myself and into our team. It's for me, being around them in the last 18 months digitally and physically has been the biggest catalyst for my growth. So for me, if I want to double down on my growth and for 2023 to be double what 2022 is, I have the opportunity to basically look at those things and be like, okay, how do I double down on that? And so getting to Miami, and even at the same time, you know, I mean, Alex has got Grant Cardone speaking there, Ed Milet. I mean, those two are huge. There's a whole other list of amazing speakers. But I mean, if you have not ever read or listened to Grant's book called 10X, highly encourage you to put that high up the top of your list, because it really will light a fire underneath you and cause you to start thinking far more intentional in the way you spend your time, and maybe also thinking about this thing of really doubling down on the things that are accelerating the things in your life. And so for being able to get over there and basically have a meet and greet with those guys still seems pretty surreal, but I know Alex is organizing that for anyone in our academy squad who gets over to that event. So absolutely pumped to be able to meet those guys. And likewise, any of you who want to come with, let's go. This is going to be absolutely crazy. And yeah, you know, I can't think of a better way to start the year than to be in a room with people like Alex, Morton, Grant Cardone, and etc. So if you're not able to make it to that one, which is pretty close, obviously we've got Orlando, Elevate, the next Academy event happening there. And then I believe there'll be at least another one or two across the States, probably closer to the West Coast potentially later on in the year. So I'll definitely be getting to some of those next year as well. But yeah, guys, thinking practically for yourself, like whatever each of our individual goals are, whether that be, you know, trading goals, family, fitness goals, you know, business goals, whatever it is, I want to encourage you, get as practical as you can. And like, this is what I was thinking of, even like, you know, a lot of us, we're on this journey of learning how to trade. Some of us might come into this thing thinking in 2 months, I'm going to hit 6 figures. And then in 8 months, I'm going to hit 7 figures. And, you know, I have heard of people actually, you know, in our wider team from Canada, someone did hit 7 figures in it. Actually, we've had a few people hit 7 figures in their first year. And one of them, you know, Justin's saying he's gone on to make 14 million in his first, I believe, 2.5 years. So it's like, we have those stories, but if you don't saturate yourself with those stories of people doing that, you're not going to believe it's possible. And just like the 4-minute mile, as soon as that thing is done and you've heard that it can be done, your faith goes up. And so, you know, faith doesn't come by seeing, faith comes from hearing. And so if you're able to write down your goals in a high amount of detail, whether it be, you know, it might be 5 figures, 6 figures, 7-figure trading account, whatever that thing is, if you can write those things down with clarity and then speak them over yourself. Like I once, you know, one of my mentors when I was in California, Steve Backlund, he had a book called You're Crazy If You Don't Talk to Yourself. And it's true. It's like you actually have the opportunity to condition your own mind and speak the words of life over yourself and start to really condition and reshape your thinking, which is what Romans 12 verse 2 talks about. Like, be transformed by the renewing of our minds. And so, you know, we are the stewards of what comes in, and, you know, whatever you're listening to, whatever you're taking in is the thing that's going to, you know, fuel your belief system. And that's actually going to in turn, you know, fuel your reality. So I want to encourage you with that. You know, for me, even getting really super practical, like for each of us, it's like, what is the trading account balance that you were hoping for this year? Okay, maybe that didn't happen, and why? And then going and have a look. Okay, like, did I actually put in dedicated time of, you know, not just trading, but practice and review and things like that? And so, you know, Mike's going to take us through some great stuff tonight that we can apply moving forward with that. But, you know, thinking like, what's my goal balance? Or if I'm going through the gates or a compound plan, like, what are my weekly, monthly, annual targets? And if you're aiming for, say, a 6-figure account, like, have you put yourself in the space of what it feels like to either open up MT4 on your phone or open up TradingView and to place a trade and know how many lot sizes that is for that account? Like, what does it look like to risk 2% on 100K on a 6-figure account? If you're risking 2%, that's $2,000, right? So you think, okay, 20 pips, $2,000, that's $100 per pip. Okay, that's a pretty hefty lot size, right? And so for a lot of us, what does it look like to actually put ourselves into that space of going, this is my goal, but how much have I really defined this goal? When am I going to achieve this goal? When am I going to be opening my trading account and looking at that, selecting the lot size and then actually being okay with the fluctuation? Like, okay, this is going to go up and this is going to go down. What does it look like to be that level in the positive and in the red, and getting yourself mentally prepared for that, so that it's not the money that throws you left and right, but you're still seeing pips. Because that's what, you know, the more you're able to just see pips and the less you're able to see dollars, the less that's going to throw you when it becomes bigger. So just want to challenge us with that, guys. Like, start thinking as practical as we can around what those goals are, writing them down, speaking them out. But then even taking it further is there's a book, I can't remember who wrote it, but Greg Greeno quotes all the time. It's called Feeling is the Secret. Might be a guy called Neville, but yeah, good old Neville. But it's all about like actually putting yourself into the space of visualizing your goals achieved. And if you can emotionally experience that goal, whether it's a trading balance or whether it's a fitness goal or a family goal, like a vacation or whatever it might be, maybe it's the final payment on your house, maybe it's the final payment on a credit card, whatever that thing is, write it down, get super clear on it, but then take the time to put yourself in that space, either by yourself or with your spouse, and just actually speak it out. Like, okay, we just paid off that credit card. We just paid off that debt. We just did that. Like, what does this actually feel like? And let the emotion of that goal being achieved fill you in that moment. and then watch. Once you have experienced what it feels like to achieve that goal, how much more everything else comes into alignment for you and your actions to start moving towards it at a much higher pace. You guys all right? You getting something from this? Can't wait for Break the Code. Yeah, Break the Code. Sorry, I'm just so pumped about Break the Code. Seriously, like I've always wanted to go to the East Coast, always want to go to Miami, and at the same time, just to be in an environment with these guys. I mean, Gary Bricker as well with 10x Health. I mean, this event's going to be massive, guy. I'm looking at this personally, like, what would it be like to have been at Tony Robbins' first ever event? Because that's how I'm seeing Alex Morton in the next 10, 20 years time. This guy's 33 years old and he's already at the top of the industry, and he was mentored by Bob Proctor for the last 12 years. I mean, he really is in a unique position to be, a real mover and a shaker and an influencer in the way that, his personal thing is all about spiritual awareness and creating momentum in people's lives. So I'm pumped. And I think every time we get to hear from people like this, we need to take advantage of it. So anyway, I don't want to waffle for too much longer. I know we've got absolute trading royalty in our presence. So it's always such an awesome opportunity to have Michael Jacobsen share with us. And so, we've been chatting about what it looks like around this time of the year to, be as intentional as we can. I remember he shared once about one of his mentors previously who would trade during the week, and he's profound. Like, he's amazing at his trades, but then he was still trade demo on the weekend to keep himself sharp. And so for each of us, what can we each do in this season? Christmas, New Year's, whatever, it's going to look different for all of us. But I'd like to say it looks like whatever you want it to look like. Like, you still get to choose how you spend your time. You still get to make powerful decisions with, okay, these are the non-negotiables for me that I'd like to spend an hour a day or whatever a week is still being plugged into, whether it be, mindset stuff. Like, I highly encourage you guys, if you've got that empowered pack, tune into MMX. Like, keep the mindset content flowing, keep the audiobooks flowing, keep that stuff sharp, keep your mind in that high peak state of high level of vision, and know exactly what you want that year to look like, so that it's not a surprise. Like, you actually are just walking through month by month, like knowing like, okay, this is my 12-month goal. Like, I mean, I've shared about this before, but brilliant book called The One Thing. It's the yellow one behind me over there on the shelf. But The One Thing just talks about domino goals. And so you might have a someday goal, which is huge. Then you might have like a 5-year goal. And then what's the one thing I can do in 5 years to achieve my someday goal? What's the one thing I can do this year to achieve my 5-year goal? What's the one thing I can do this month to achieve my 1-year goal, this week, etc.? So then when you start thinking about that, okay, if my 1-year goal is this, then what's the thing I need to make sure I'm doing every month? And then you start thinking in terms of like, 30-day chunks or 90-day chunks. So for me, I have goals that are normally ranked in terms of, I've got a 30-day a planner that I run through with this. So I've got a 30-day goal, and I've got a conservative version, and I've got a stretch version. And so then at the same time, I extrapolate that out to 90 days. And I think, okay, so if I get my conservative goal across 90 days, over 4 months, over 4 quarters, it'll look like that. So worst case scenario, conservatively, that's where I end up. Best case scenario, stretch wise, that's where I end up. And so if you can give yourself that kind of a lane and a buffer to think about, like across 30 days and 90 days, and you get really intentional about what that looks like incrementally, whether that be trading, whether that be fitness, whatever it is, guys, what gets measured gets managed. James Leon has said that all the time. And if we're not measuring the things that we want to see improvement in, we're probably not going to recognize the improvement when it comes. You might not recognize the slip when it goes the other way. So anyway, enough from me. I'm rambling, but guys, let's drop some 222s in the chat for Michael Jacobsen. I want to bring him on to take us away. We were thinking about, what I was saying was, what can we do to keep ourselves sharp in this season, and what can we do to really monitor, what we're up to on the charts and how we're growing, to make sure that we don't just take like the silly amount of time off and then start from square one. Some of you might want to start from square one, but I want to encourage you, there is a high amount of depth that has gone into you already, and I believe that there's ways for us to keep that sharp. So Mike, if you are there, I have pinned you to the screen. I want to welcome you to, if you are there, maybe grab some water, turn your camera on, turn your audio on. There we go. Great to see you, bro. So good to have you with us this evening. Always appreciate everything you've got to share with us, man. So my voice is going, so I'm going to get myself out the way and give it over to you, man. Thanks so much.
Cool. Thanks, Ty. I was just making some notes there about the goals at Compound. And I remember when I was younger, I wanted to feel what it was like to trade $1,000 a pip, because I knew that was going to happen at a point in my life. And I wanted to feel what was it like to have that much money, to have a $250,000 trading account and trade size. And so I would actually open up a demo account, and I would trade with large size and pretend it was real, and actually get the feel of, man, I just made $10,000 today. And it started to become real, like, wow, I can actually do this. I just need to build up my account, but I wanted to feel it now. And that's sort of what you're saying, Ty. It's about feeling that experience before it happens, and it makes it real. It makes it more real. It makes it achievable, and it makes it tangible. So like my former mentor who would actually demo trade in the weekend to sharpen his skills, that is something that I recommend. And even if you're not trading live, then just do that on a demo account. So that's one thing that I still do. I still use a demo account to practice. And one of the other ways I set goals is actually using the gate system that James Leone has. And so I'm going to share my screen and Ty, you can let me share my screen again.
Should be good to go. Thanks, buddy.
There we go. Beautiful. All right. Share this one, this one, this one. Okay. So this is the spreadsheet for the gate system. So let's say you start at $500 and you're risking 15 pips to make 32 pips. So just over 2 to 1. And what I actually do is I actually mark out levels that I want to reach. So for example, gate 20, that's a primary goal for me. So let's say I'm making 3 gates a week. I know exactly how long, like Ty was saying, conservatively it's going to take if I make 3 gates a week. So there's 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. After about just over 6 weeks, you're looking to make 200 pips, so $200 a pip. So that's $6,500 a trade. So if you start to do this on demo, what it starts to do is it gets you accustomed to setting not monetary goals, which is probably not the best way to set a goal for trading because that can be quite arbitrary, but to set goals based on your system. So I love the gate system because it's no longer, I made $100 today. It's now I'm at gate 3. And I was listening to someone on a podcast yesterday. I can't remember who it was. He's a multi-millionaire. And he said, the best way to approach business is by gamifying it. And I said to my wife, look, that's exactly what we're doing with the gate system. It's where we're motivating ourselves and incentivizing ourselves to get to the next level, not based on an arbitrary monetary figure or amount, but by each gate. So I have like my first target is gate 20. And then obviously you can see you increase your size, your account increases, you get to gate 40. And what I do is I have actually rewards for each gate. I have rewards. So let's say for here, it's new golf clubs. So every time I get to that level, here it's a trip to Fiji. So there's an incentive around that, getting that gate as well. So you're rewarding yourself. So you're experiencing what it's like to get there, what it's like to actually make that sort of money. But you're structuring the way you think to achieve your goals based on a very, very objective system. So I love the gate system for setting goals. It's amazing. And obviously there's a monetary figure attached to that. So at gate 40, if you're trading $1,000 pips on the $300,000 account, you're making $32,000 a trade. That's only 4% of your trade of your total account. So it's all relative. You can change that if you like, but it's all relative. And obviously, as your account increases, if you keep your lot sizing the same, then as you can see on the left-hand side, your risk continues to go down. So now when we get to gate 60, if we're still trading $1,000 a pip, we're still making 32 grand a trade, but we're only risking 1.6% of our account. So I love the gate system for setting goals, but I would definitely recommend, if you are implementing the gate system, you don't have to. It's something that James uses in the academy with the dynamic edge. It's a brilliant way to manage your risk, and it's a great way to gamify your progress. It's not a game, but it gives you a very, very structured way but a fun way of saying, I am deeply motivated to get to the next gate because I know when I get to gate 20, I'm going to be making $6,500 a trade. And if I'm making 5 successful trades a week, that's 30 grand a week. And this is how a lot of people have made their money, by compounding like this and having rewards attached to it. So this is one way that I do to structure my goals and know exactly where I'm going. I don't set it by a monetary figure, but by a gate. And even within the day, I aim to get at least 1 gate a day. If I don't, my minimum target is 3 gates a week. So that's the goal that I have. But coming into the holiday season, we're going to share a couple of ways that you can actually hone your skills, because what happens in the holiday season is that a lot of traders leave the market. And the reason for that is it's holidays all around, or almost all around the world. So when you have all of the active traders, or a large percentage of active traders leaving the market, there's less money being traded, which means there's less liquidity in the market. Now, if there's less liquidity, the moves are a lot more erratic and a lot more volatile. So let me just show you what I mean by that. So we have a picture. So let's say that in a very, very liquid market, you have a lot of market participants. Okay, so there's a lot of money sloshing around, and the moves tend to be very, very smooth and much clearer to read. And let's say, for example, you have a trend line. When there's a lot of market participants, if that trend line is broken, you have a much higher degree of probability that the momentum of that break will continue down, because you have a lot more people seeing it. However, what happens in a less liquid market where there's a lot less people is that the market is a lot more erratic. It's a lot more volatile, okay? And let's say that you have a trend line like this. Normally, if there was a break of that trend line, you could look for a great sell. What happens in a less liquid market is the price will break, and then it will just go straight back up. There's no momentum or real sustainability behind that move. So it's not a wise idea to trade from Christmas Eve all the way through to about the 3rd or 4th of January. I don't trade at all during that period. You can trade if you want to, but there's a lot more risk involved. So if you don't trade, what can you do? Well, you can demo trade because you're not risking real money in the market, and you're going to learn a lot. There's going to be a lot of great learning experiences. But there's some other things that you can do. One of them is, if you're using TradingView, then you can use the replay function. And so if you are currently using a strategy through one of the educators at the Academy, then you can put your strategy on the screen. So for example, we have kill shot here. And if you come up the top here in TradingView, there's a little rewind button, these 2 backward arrows. If you click on that, you can actually go back in time, and you can look for your setup, and you can actually watch the trade play through step by step. So for example, we can come and look at a trade this morning. Here was a sell signal here for dynamic edge. Price had crossed over and tested the moving averages. So what we can do is we can actually go back and test all of our setups. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click that double arrow, and then I'm going to put this blue line on where I want the replay to begin. So just before the red arrow. Now that means I can actually look at the market exactly how it's set up in real time, and I can play it through 1 bar at a time, which is really amazing. So I'm just going to move this down here. In fact, let's move it up here. So down the bottom here, you have your fast forward and your play. You can choose to increase the speed. You can have it very, very slow, or you can have it very, very fast, or you can simply trade 1 bar at a time. I'm going to just trade 1 bar at a time by clicking the forward button. So if I click that once, the next candle plays out. I click it again, the next candle plays out. Click it again, the next, okay, there's the signal. However, I don't want to enter there because it's too far away from my stop. I'm going to wait for the first pullback into the averages. So we can actually practice what it actually looks like. Okay, there's our pullback. So let's say, okay, I'm going to sell right there. And I'm going to have my stop, let's say, above the highs. So I'm just going to put an imaginary stop up there. Let's say 10 pips. So my stop is there. Okay, this is what I would do in a normal market situation. Let's play it forward and see if I get stopped out. Okay, we got stopped out and the market kept going. So by doing this, using the replay function, you can learn and a lot faster. And what you're doing is you're developing that unconscious competency that traders need to recognize patterns. So what you can do is you can do it with one of the strategies that you're currently utilizing with the Academy, Or one of the things that I recommend is actually doing it with key levels and trend lines. So when we look at any market, we know that price will respect trend lines and key levels. Now, what do I mean by trend line? I mean that price will be held under a certain level. So if we come back here, we can see that we have a high point, we have a high point, and look how price has respected that level again. So what I can do with the replay function is I can draw my trend line and I can play the bars through, and I can learn what happens at the trend line. Look what happens. It stops there. Okay. Now, is it going to respect that trend line, or is it going to break through? Okay, it broke through that time. But by actually drawing out trend lines, you can actually learn to see hundreds of times before what happens in a normal market situation. So here's another one over here. Let's look at this one over here. Let's just stop this one and let's come back here. So what you're teaching your brain to do is recognize patterns that occur over and over and over. So when it comes time to actually trade in a real life market situation, your mind has already seen it before. And so a really good example is a trade that I took just earlier tonight. And I took it live on this account here. And I have seen this set up over and over so many times that it was very, very easy to know what to do. So we basically had a trend line break coming down like this, and we had a divergence playing out. We have higher highs on the MACD, lower lows. And once price gets that, once price does that, I know at this time of day, I can actually buy it. But I know there's a steeper trend line I can draw, which is down there. So let me just put my deal map on, and there's my trade. That's my live trade. So I bought right there, and I took my profit out up there. I could only do that because I've looked at the chart so many times. I've learned to recognize the breaks of trend lines and where key levels are. So if we use the replay function back here, this is going back to the 24th, we have a similar situation. We find 2 points that price is respected, and we extrapolate that trend line out. Now, notice it hits it again. So we could have had a sell there. And we don't know if it's going to hit the trend line in the future, but we still have the trend line there just in case, because if it breaks through, what it means is that this current downtrend will be violated, and this current downtrend will possibly be ending, because it means that price is no longer resisted or suppressed under this dynamic level. So if we play through price and see what happens, look at that. Whoops, don't look at that. Look at the trend line. It barely touches the trend line. And look how it respects it. And then it breaks down. So just because it pierced through here, that's okay. Notice it didn't close above the trend line. So at that point, we probably had a short trade opportunity there. So by doing this and using the replay button, you can actually run through hundreds of setup options without being in a real market. And so you can play through and actually watch the candles unfold one at a time, and you can see exactly what you do. Now, something else that I do, which is incredibly important, is not only using trend lines that are diagonal, but looking for horizontal levels where price is respected over and over and over. So what we can do is bring it back here. Let's bring the same function back here and stop that one and bring it back here. Now this has already happened, but let's say that back on the 29th of November, we're learning how price responds to horizontal levels. Now, as you can see, price has been supported very, very strongly at this level of around 11,493. Now, what's more important is it's about 11,500. So it's a 500, it's a 0, 0 level. which is a very significant level for the bank. So notice that price has tried 2 times to break through that level and it was unsuccessful. So I want to have that line there, because when price comes back to that line, I want to know, is price going to respect that level again? Or if it doesn't, it might totally crash through it and fall off a cliff. So we can use the replay function. And what I'm doing is I'm going to play bar by bar, and I'm going to watch what price does when it comes down to that level. And I'm going to learn how it reacts. So look at that candle there. It broke through the level, but it did not close below the level. Notice the big wick. This means there's a lot of buying at that level. So we didn't close below that line, and there was a lot of buying there, which means it looks like there's still a lot of support. So let's play the next candle. Now we have a small green bar. So by looking at this, you're learning how price responds without the stress of a live market situation when you're using real money. Play the next bar. Okay, look at that, more buying, another big wick. So this is telling us, okay, it looks like price is probably going to be supported here. So at this point, what you can do on your strategy is you can actually, if you're trading a 1-minute strategy, you can click on the 1-minute chart. So you go 1. And this is exactly what it looks like on a 1-minute chart. Okay, so there's our horizontal line. This is exactly what it looks like. Now we can put our indicator on, and sure enough, we have a buy signal. Not only that, okay, we have a trend line here. I can draw the trend line across there. I'll just remove the indicator so you can see it. Look how I'm connecting these 2 points. And let's just put that one there. So I'm connecting these 2 points. So we've rejected the horizontal level. We've broken through the trend line. And look at that, we also have a buy. So this looks like it could be a really great opportunity for a buy. So with the kill shot, I'm going to wait for price to come down to see if it hits the averages. So now I can play it through 1 bar at a time. Okay, what's going to happen? Look at that, it absolutely exploded from that level. Am I going to get a buy signal? Is it going to come back? Okay, so we could have a buy just in there, and we could see what happens. We can play it through, and we can learn exactly what price is going to do. Comes all the way down and stops us out. So by doing this, I just picked this one randomly, so I didn't know that was going to happen. But by doing this, you're training your eyes to recognize how price moves. Okay. And if you want, again, you can go back to the normal time frame, the 60-minute chart, and you can see what it looks like. So it's all about developing your ability of unconscious competency. So when you approach a live market situation, you can say, oh, I've seen that before. I know exactly what's going to happen. Okay, and sure enough, it turns around and it does reject that level, and then it massively rejects that level. So look at that, that same horizontal level. Notice what price did. It rejected it, then it came up, and then it came down, then it rejected it again, and that's when all the buying stepped in, boom, and exploded. Not only that, but super interesting. That's where we broke our trend line. Okay, so by putting these trend lines in and drawing and practicing them over the Christmas period, it's an incredible way to hone your skill. So you don't have to trade, but you're practicing. And again, my mentor, he practices, or my former mentor, he practices at least 2 hours every weekend. And he does back testing, he does demo trading, just to train his brain to see things the right way, so that when you're trading a fast market with real money in an intense situation at 8 o'clock in the morning, when the market's going crazy, you can make faster decisions because you've spent a lot of time doing it in the back office, as it were, and trading like this. So that's a couple of things. We want to practice with the replay button up here. Again, you just click on it, and then you put it anywhere you want, and then you can go through step by step and actually watch the market trade. one bar at a time, or you can press play and just watch the market roll. We can slow it down to 1, and you can just watch it play step by step. You're learning to read price action, and price is the most important thing on a chart. Okay, your indicator is a derivative of price. Price is the most important thing because it reflects the psychology of the buyers and sellers. So you need to learn, well, it's incredibly helpful to learn to watch price move by itself. So for example, if we see this big red candle over here, we know that represents a lot of selling. If we see this big green candle here, we know that that represents a lot of buying because price was pushed all the way down. The buyers brought it straight back up and it closed incredibly high. You can see the body of this candle is, the wick is 4 times the size of this candle. Over here, price opened high, fell off a cliff and closed low, which means there's no buyers there. If you come back over here, what else can we see? We can see after a big sell-off, a lot of big red candles. And then what we'd see then afterwards is a lot of little green candles. That tells us that there's no more sellers left. They've pushed it down once. They haven't got the power to push it down again. Therefore, there's probably buyers left in the market. Sure enough, we get 1 push up, 1 rejection, 1 retracement, and then the buyer step in the game. So learning to watch price and read it is the most powerful skill you can have in trading apart from risk management. Learning to recognize why does price move the way it does. So we looked at trend lines, we looked at key levels. You want to go back in the past. And what I actually do is I will, let's say we have the kill shot strategy. And let's just go remove the replay function. And let's go to a 1-minute chart and look at some real trades that actually happened. What I actually do is I take screenshots of my trades and I copy and paste them so that I can remember what they look like for next time. So for example, the trade that I took tonight, here's the trend line. Okay, and so we had a break of the trend line. Notice we had a buy signal. We had a break of the trend line. Price came back and tested the moving averages once and twice, and that was it. It found a floor. Price was unable to break through that. And so what I do is I take a screenshot of that, I put it into a Word document, and then actually scroll through the document and look at it. And you're training your eyes to recognize these patterns. And when they occur again, you're like, man, I've seen that before. Because everything you see in your entire life, you remember. You cannot always consciously draw that memory back to your mind, but everything you see in your entire life from childhood, your brain remembers. You never forget anything. The difficulty is just in drawing it back. So with trading, the more we're in the markets and the more screen time you have, the stronger that unconscious competency skill is, and the easier it is to make fast decisions that you can trust when the market is moving with real money. So these are things I do. And if you're not going to be trading over the Christmas holidays, I recommend demo trading. If you want to start setting goals, start trading with instead of just the normal $100 account, open a demo account with $100,000 and start trading $100 a pip and start getting that feeling of what is it like to make $1,000 a day. And so when you're actually seeing it and feeling it before it happens. And when it happens in the future, you're like, I know what this is like. And it's not, whoa, this is so much money, I better be careful. No, you've already done it and you felt what it's like and you're ready to do it. And it's all about preparing yourself for the next step. And so with demo trading, that is solidifying what you already know. And it's actually preparing you for the next level in your trading. For a lot of you, that will be real money. For some of you, that will be increasing your lot size. But it's all about preparing for the next step. So these are things that I do. I still demo trade, and I set goals. I have goals every day that I try to achieve. I have weekly goals that are gate based, not monetary based. However, I do have ultimate monetary goals. In 3 years, I want to have X amount in my account. In 5 years, I want to have X amount. In 10 years, I want this and I want these things. So that's important as well. But for trading, I would recommend you base it on a system, not just a monetary figure from day to day. So those are a couple of things I wanted to share with you. These are ways you can hone your skills, and this way your skills will compound. So if you have time over the holidays, I absolutely recommend, if you want to fast track your learning into 2023, then spend time on the charts. Whatever setup you're trading, whether it's the gate, whether it's the kill shot strategy, whether it's dynamic edge, go back in time on TradingView or in the academy on the platform there, and look at all the setups and learn the nuances of them. Remember the nuances. Okay, when it hits this moving average, this normally happens. When we have a double top at this time in the morning, this normally happens. So for example, if we come back, something I just saw tonight that has happened, and then I will answer the questions on the chat. So look at this. I actually put this line up earlier. This was the collapse in price 4 days ago. Look where we tested just now at London Open. There's a sell right there, price respected to the pip. Look at that. Not only that, but we have divergence. And so there's a sell setup right there. Like there's a sell right there. We have divergence on the 3-minute chart. And because I was watching, and because I draw these horizontal key levels, price is going to respect that every time. I'm not sure if I drew it on my other chart. I didn't, but I had that there earlier from today. So it's because I've looked at it and practiced, and this is how you guys can actually level up super quick and shorten the learning curve as well. So let me just see what's in the chat. But we should probably have a nice rejection from this area. Something else that's super interesting is that if we look at the high time frames, we also have divergence on a 15-minute chart. Look at that, divergence on a 15-minute chart. And we have divergence on the 5-minute chart. Look at that, massive lower lows on the momentum indicator, higher highs in price. If we go down to the 1-minute chart, then we don't have divergence on the MACD or the histogram, but the higher timeframes will probably be enough for that. And so we should probably see a bit of a move down in price. All right, so let me just have a look at the questions here. Yep, the fingers poked through the fence, Ty. Yeah, so with kill shot, obviously, like if you look at it, you definitely, it's much safer to trade the pullbacks, because what happens is the crossover of the moving average is lagging. But if you trade the pullback, I'm just scanning through to look. So for example, you have a sell signal right here, but if you sold right then, you're selling here, and price comes all the way back and stops you out. So the higher probability trade is waiting for price to come back into the averages and then trade, because price always reverts to the mean. It's like that elastic band. You pull that band out, you let it go, it's going to slap back to the mean. And so that's what happens here. So the high probability trade, if this is actually turned into a downtrend, is trading away from the moving averages. The same thing here. We have a blue signal. You'd be buying right there, and price does go up. But if you traded for a pullback and bought here, the averages, you now have a very, very objective place to trade your stop. So that's just another thought around that. So I only trade the pullback to the averages because it's a much higher probability trade, and it gives me a very, very objective place to have my stop. So for example, on this trade here, when price pulls back to the averages and makes a swing high and then breaks a trend line, then I get in the trade, and now I have an objective swing high that I can put my stop above, and then I can just watch whatever price does. Notice how these trend lines are respected over and over. Once they break, they really break, especially when the consolidation ends, when all the averages are packed together. It has to expand away from that. So the best trades on the kill shot are when they expand out of a consolidation, like this one here, and like the one this morning. Here's our consolidation. Notice that price is trapped in a range, very, very tight. And then notice how it's supported by all of the moving averages. They're all together here. And then what do you have? A nice trend line break. And then boom. But you have a very, very objective place to trade, to place your stop under that low. And on that trade there, if you placed your stop there, if you held it until the moving average is crossed over, which was the end of the day, you're making about 6.5 to 1. So massive, massive trade. All right, do I have a template for a trading journal? I have Excel spreadsheets, Brian, and I actually have just a Word document, and I post the date, I post the what I'm trading, and I have a screenshot, and then I have all of the particular. In fact, let me just pull it up if I can see if I can find it. Hang on, see if I can find it for you. And there, let me just quickly see if I can find it, and file open. Just give me a second. I'll show you exactly what it looks like for me. Where is it? Here we go. Oh, no, it's not that one. Just a second. So I've actually got other screens above me. That's what I'm looking up. So here we go. All right. So all right. So this is one of my journals. So as you can see, NES 3-minute hopper trades. I only trade 3-minute hoppers after a trend is turned around, not in the middle of the range. So you can see the date, 16th of August, and I got 32 pips. And there's a screenshot of the 1-minute chart. Let's just zoom in. There's a screenshot of the 1-minute chart on the right, the 3-minute chart on the left. And I've shown my entry. So there's the hopper. I've circled the break above the 0 line. There's the arrow pointing to, that's where the break is. And then we have a rejection of a line on the 1-minute chart on pink, and the mid BB, and that's where my buy entry is. We're both, on both charts, we're trading above the 0 line on the MACD. And so you can see on this trade, I made 32 pips, and this was my analysis. Here's the next day, the 17th of August. That should be on the next page because I've enlarged it. And the next day, I got 32 pips as well. And it was different. We had a break, a hopper on the 3-minute chart. Here's the 1-minute chart, rejection of a line, and we traded all the way to the high. The next day, on the 18th, this was a very simplified version. I must have been in a hurry. 36 pips. There's the rejection. There's the hopper on the 3-minute chart. Here's the rejection of a line on the 1-minute chart. So it's a very, very simple template. Often I will put notes if I believe notes are valid. Back here, I didn't put notes. So as you can see, 32 pips, 30 pips, and I'm just looking for 30 to 36 pips a day. But I know exactly what I'm looking for, and I have Excel spreadsheet as well to record other information. So that is my answer for Brian. If you see divergence on the 15 and 5, but not on the lower one, would you take that trade? Yes, I would definitely. If I see divergence on the 5 or 50-minute chart, Tim, I will not be looking to trade in the opposite direction because the higher timeframes always hold preference over the lower timeframes. The dealers are not trading 1-minute charts; they're trading 4-minute charts and hourly charts. And so, if your context is the 4-hour hourly charts, that will always take precedence as far as momentum is concerned. So, for example, on this chart now, on the 30-minute chart, I think we have divergence. Yeah, so we have divergence on the 30-minute chart. And notice the divergence is not just anywhere, it's into this previous high, it's into a key level. So if you have divergence into a key level, there's no chance you would ever buy there, ever. Like you never buy into a ceiling, like you never jump into a ceiling, would you? You want to jump like out of a tree, like down, not you don't want to jump up. So divergence on a 30-minute chart probably says this is going to roll over. That would take precedence over anything else for me. Yeah, the compound plan for Manny Q. Awesome. All right. So if there's any more questions, put them in the chat now. Otherwise, I'll give it back to Ty. But the last word is practice. In fact, I was talking to my son a couple of months ago, and I said, Luca, I said, practice makes perfect. He said, no, Dad. He said, practice makes progress. And he's only 6 years old. Practice makes progress, and progress makes perfect. But even if it's not perfect, we're not concerned with the outcome. We're concerned with getting the process right. We're concerned with being consistent. And for me, it's still about following my rules and not making stupid decisions. So progress leads to perfecting the process. It doesn't lead to perfection in itself. And that's what we want. We want a process or a system that we can stick to consistently and not be concerned, because the outcome will come automatically if we have that consistent process in place. All right, so that's all for me, but all the best over Christmas. We're going to have, I think, a session next Tuesday, but demo trading, go back and use the replay function, practice with it, learn price action, learn to look at the charts and see how price moves, and that will put you streets ahead of anyone else. Cool. Thanks, Ty.
Wow. Wow, guys, drop some value in the chat if you got value from that. Mike, that was absolutely sensational. Thank you so much. Woo, that was cool. Let me put myself back on screen. There we go. Wow, seriously, so fun. That replay feature, guys, I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that. I haven't really spent much time on it. I have seen it every here and there, but really keen. I think it's one way to go, and like Mike said, just go and test out something a whole lot faster as opposed to just waiting for something to play out. Just go back in time, mark it up, practice, mark it up, practice. So good, man. Thank you so much for your time and wisdom. So appreciate it. There were nuggets, bro. You dropped a lot of nuggets there. I don't know if everyone got them, but I would rewatch this session if I were you. There were some golden things in there that I'm excited about. So right, what have we got? Couple things, guys. A couple questions. So compound plan, things like that. I'm going to share my screen super quick and show you a few things that I've got in the background. Love that journal that you did show, Mike. That was really cool. Really cool. Let me do this. I'm going to share this. So if you're brand new, you know, most of you know your way around the academy by now, but to show you where we start off with, this would be, let me just get this lower. There we go. So when you log in for the first time, guys, im.academy, this is your main page right here. So when you log in, you're going to see this. And then, you know, this is where you can come and adjust things. Like this is where you could, you know, you can go in the shopping cart, you could adjust your, you know, you could get an empowered pack there, things like that. Personal info, actually it might be in the personal info tab, one or the other. Anyway, you're going to click IM Center. IM Center is going to load and it is going to look like this. Sorry, my Zoom settings are on the way. There we go. That's what the center looks like. This is pillar number 1. If you're brand new, this is where all of the academies are. If you're starting from the beginning, you're going to come in here and click Forex English, or you might click, you know, maybe TBX, or you might click DCX Welcome Series. And then you've got the options of exchange trading or leverage trading right there, e-commerce, etc. So that's where the academies are on the TLX portal for booking. But besides that, guys, we've got a couple other things. We've got the link to go live, which is pillar number 2, which I'm not going to go into tonight. That's where we get our live education from. And the strategies tabs, pillar number 3, that's where we load our scanners. But Pip Talk, guys, I want to show you Pip Talk. So when you load Pip Talk for the first time, it's going to look like this. You can come in here and select any educator and you can follow them. And then when you've got the Academy app installed, this is basically like a text message environment. So if you search in here, Manny, which I did in this tab, you know, you can load Manny Q's particular channel there. And then he posts in here, right? And I mean, if you go through this, you might be pretty impressed and want to go follow Manny. But yeah, he's teaching at the moment. He teaches harmonics, but and you know, smart Monix is the new thing, so incorporating smart money and how the banks move money. And go down here, Keith, guys, right now, if you didn't know, 25 days of giving, every morning for 25 days, this is happening. So this morning was Doc Spiller showing colors. That was a really good call. Guys, this is a $50 extra per month strategy, which is getting a redesign and is going to be included for free if you have an Empower Pack with Forex as one of your base packs. Insane. So anyways, colors is coming in hot for a lot of us pretty soon, which is fun. Tomorrow we've got Jay, who teaches TBX. He's also an incredible genius with social media. Then on Thursday morning, Mike Sotero and Curtis Cobain doing another DCX one. Guys, these are 6 a.m. New Zealand time. So come and tune into these if you want tomorrow morning or the next morning. And Anastasia, she is the volume queen. So she teaches the volume profile, the point of control, like no one else. She was teaching on Gold Cup for a long amount of time, but now she's moved over to the Stocks and Futures Academy. So if you want to get a dose of what that looks like, guys, we utilize the volume profile with Killshot. So I highly recommend tuning in this week. And then next week, guys, we have got our leaders, Greg and Melanie Greeno, bringing in the Mindset Academy because they're now MMX educators officially. And then there's an e-commerce demo next week, social media, Where's doing TLX, and another SFX. So awesome opportunity, guys. If you want to see these recordings before I forget, I Am Academy's YouTube channel. If you missed any of them, you can go to their channel. I'll do this. Let me just copy it, paste this in the chat. I'll show a few channels tonight. There's the Academy's YouTube channel. If you go to live, that's where you're going to see all of these recordings. So there's this morning with Doc Spill and just previous ones they've had. Amazing one on NFTs right there. And anything else, guys, perfect things to share with anyone. If you want to come back, you know, Mike Sotero was in that one, Brandon Boyd, TBX, super cool. So if you want to know about TLX, right there's about 20 minutes of gold in the middle, which shows off what TLX is all about. But bringing it back to Pep Talk really quickly, that was the 25 days of giving. Let me scroll down. So just inside of Pep Talk, rolling down. I mean, look at this, guys. Manny's posting like his results here from his harmonics. So check out this. Wow, 7 targets smashed in go live session. So he had all these harmonics happening. Look at that, 100 pips, 90 pips, 40 pips, all the way through. Check out this. The harmonic scanner pulls up these trades, and then he's showing you on his channel how to mark them up, etc. So if you haven't looked into harmonics, guys, powerful stuff. Essentially really big W's and M's. Real small way to describe them. But rolling further down his channel, the reason I came here was to show us the compound plan. Had a baby, obviously. You keep going. You might have to click show more, but eventually you're going to get down the bottom to this. So you're going to see a post which says FRX, TBX, DCS, SFX compound plan 2.0. So in here, he's got a link to his compound plan video. That'll take you directly to Go Live, which explains his compound plan. Then he's got a whole nother video on the psychology of a trading plan, how to customize it, like a walkthrough, how to do that, and what it looks like to stack it, then actually accessing it. So if you click this button, you're going to be able to access this compound plan, which is an incredibly detailed spreadsheet. It's going to open this link, and you're going to be able to come in here and make a copy and follow the description. So this is, besides the gates, if you're not using the gate spreadsheet, guys, this is the next best thing. You can come in here and put in your goal balance, etc., your percentage risk, everything, and it's going to calculate exactly how many trades until you hit your target, all that fun stuff. So let me do this. So if you want to get to Manny's, well, what happens if I do this? Here's a link to the compound plan. Let's see if you guys can go and get that. There we go. There's the link. But oh, whoops, loading it again. But yeah, if you want to, you just got to go to Pep Talk, which if you're on im.center, sorry, if I did that before, main page, IM Center, that's going to load IM Center. And then in the menu button here, that's where you find Pep Talk. And we were just in Pep Talk looking under Manny's channel. So let me get that out of the way, get the compound plan out the way, academies out the way, that'll do. One more thing I wanted to show you guys quickly was, guys, if you want to catch up on videos, if you missed something, Mike and I each have YouTube channels. So there's mine. If you've missed anything, like, that was last week, there's Mike Sotero, Greg Greeno, Alex Morton, the investor boot camps in here. Anything that we've done, guys, it lives in here. So I post them in our chat. For some reason, our team chat no longer shows thumbnails. But if you are subscribing to me and Mike, you're going to get notification as soon as we upload a video. So here's Mike's channel as well. He puts up his weekly updates. Mike's been doing this for a long time, as you can tell. So guys, I'm just dropping these links in the chats for you guys, and I'll put them in the video description as well. I'm Academy's YouTube channel, like I said, is there. So if you want to come and get a demo of what colors is like, DCX or TLX or SFX, guys, perfect way to come in and see replays or watch them live. Some other mentorship stuff. Let's see. There we go, all the subscription stuff, cool. Joey Wilson, guys, Chairman 100, he showed up and did a call for us the other day. He's been running these Elevate mentorship calls every week, all the way to March to the Elevate convention. So guys, I've watched almost all of these already. I watched Matt Rose's one 3 times, absolutely incredible. Mel's one was outstanding, Randy and Joey. This one with Christopher Derrick, incredible as well. Amazing, amazing gentleman. And Richard Ustra, our own legend right there. So if you want to come in, guys, you want to get some serious mindset motivation, come in here and watch these on Joey's channel. I will paste that in the chat too. What else have we got? Since you if you're heading into the new year and you want some cool stuff to follow, here's our Freedom Revolution YouTube channel. So this is Greg and Mel and Rich. This is all the content they put out. Greg actually took the call that he did for our team the other day and put it on their channel, which is pretty fun. And all sorts. If you miss anything with what they do, 6 a.m. Sunday mornings, we have team calls with Greg and Mel and Rich, and sometimes Chandra as well, who leads those. So that's that channel. Brandon Boyd, guys, Chairman 100 as well, Network Marketing Hall of Fame, TBX educator with Impulse. There's his channel. You can go follow him. Amazing content. There's a 5-minute video which shows you exactly how 2 and 3 works. There's a 5-minute overview of the whole academy. He's just got amazing discipline and mindset videos in here, guys. Amazing, amazing content. If you want to follow someone, Brandon Boyd, definitely. Alex Morton, another incredible motivational speaker who's one of our leaders. There's his channel. Yeah, guys, you can come and follow his content there. Super fun. Myself and some people. I was sitting somewhere over there in Arizona for that Friday night event that he came. He came straight from the plane to that event to come hang out with us. So yeah, guys, that's that. I'll stop sharing. Hope you guys got some value from tonight. I know I got stacks and I just feel like getting on the charts right now. Actually, let me see my trade. We're good. I moved my stop into profit. There we go. Actually looks like I was stopped out. So price ran back up. I'll be checking on that in a minute because I still think we're at a key level. So yeah, look at that. I'll show you. So Mike was showing some stuff before. Let me show you exactly what we're looking at right now on the charts, guys. So I got kill shot running right here, and obviously prices come up and we've got this double top and we've got this divergence playing out, higher highs, lower highs. This green line you can see right here, I saw that and went, what is that? I know that's a key level. So if you want to know what's going on with that, I zoomed out. So if I go to a daily, this is gonna look really messy, guys, but because I've got a lot going on here, let me just take kill shot off like this. So if you get on a chart of the NAS 100 and you look at the COVID dip right there in March. So there's the dip right there, 20th of March, 19th of March, and you take a fib, you draw a fib from the low to the high. Fibonacci tool is this one up here. If you draw it from the low point to the high point where the market had its peak in November last year, right now, what is that green line, guys? 50%, 11,745. That green line is the 50% zone. So we've pulled all the way back down, pretty much bang on to the 61.8, a little bit lower. We pushed a little bit lower, and now we've come back up, and we broke above, pushed back down, but now we're sitting just below the 50%. So it'd be real interesting to see what happens here. If we zoom back in to, no, 5 minutes too much. Let's get over there. I'm on auto. There we go. So right now, guys, there's that green line again. Huge key level on this chart. Price came up to there, rejected, and it's working its way up, and now we've got this divergence playing out. We rejected that exact key level there before while Mike was talking, and it looks like it might just be having another attempt to push a little higher, maybe. We'll see. Maybe not. But anyway, just want you to be aware of that level just above us right there. Got a trend line below here that it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Anyway, don't want to keep you guys tonight. Just a little bit right there. Mike, I know I think you've got another little piece you want to share. Please, by all means, bro, where are you? Let me get you back on here. I know you've got another nugget for us, so I'll put you back on the screen. There we go, bro. You still there?
Yeah, cool. I just wanted to just qualify one more statement. So can you guys see my screen here now?
Yeah, we got you.
Brilliant. Okay. So when I say we have this key level, so because we know it's a key level, nothing is 100% certain. Okay, so we do not know that price is not going to go up and smash through this level. We don't know that. However, because we have divergence into that level, there's no way we would buy before that level. Okay. However, if we get if we get a breakthrough, then there could be an opportunity for a buy there. But what I would never do is buy before this level and buy into it, because you know you're going to get, it's like running into a brick wall. You know you're going to get some sort of resistance. So there's no point buying just before it. But once price maybe really clears it, and maybe that level that Ty is showing, that's when you know this is no longer a level that's going to be rejected by price. Now you're free to buy. So what I'm saying is the probability, if you buy before that level, of having a successful trade is much lower than either waiting for the level to break and buying after, or looking for a sell here, because if you look for a sell, you have a defined risk, but you would never be looking to buy anywhere in here. It's too close. Like James Leone says, you want to make sure that you're not buying into big numbers, 0 numbers, or buying into significant levels, because you will get rejected. So you have to wait for those levels to clear. So for example, back here today, once the trend line was cleared, then we've got blue sky, we can buy it. So I just wanted to qualify that statement. It could go straight up from here. It could go straight up. We don't know, but I would never buy before that level. So I just want to clear that up. Cool. Thanks, Ty.
So good, man. Any more thoughts? What happens if we clear that level? You know this chart.
So I believe that if we clear this level, we're going to go to the moon. The reason for that is if we go back in time, look to the left of your chart.
Huge.
Look how price has respected that level. Here, 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 and here. So if we break that level, we will probably go to about 11,820. After that, we're probably going to go all the way back up into the highs, back up in here. Because if you look just in here, prices drop. When you have a price drops quickly, no one has their stops in there. The stops are always above the high, and price will always gravitate to the stops. So that's why you want to look, as you can see, we've got swing highs here. That's where price will stop. There's stops above that region there. And then there'll be stops up above this region and stops above these highs and above these highs. So there's a lot of crazy lines. But I think if we break this level, then we're going to go all the way up. That's my take. So if we break it, I'm definitely a buyer. If we reject here, I'm definitely going to be selling. Simple.
Pretty much. So we're sitting on the fence right now, basically, guys. Need some confirmation. I mean, what kind of confirmations would you look for, man? Like, obviously, like maybe a powerful hopper or something. Like, I mean, what would putting us in the headspace of the psychology of, big money right now? How are they trying to mess around with our heads at a level like this? Like, basically patience, et cetera. But like, what would be those confirming factors? I'm just drilling down a little bit.
Okay, sure. So the big players will be manipulating your psyche on where you perceive the market to go next. Okay, now if we look out to the 4-hour chart, what we can see is that price has rejected this level down here. We have a very, very clear floor that's been touched 5 times and they're unable to break lower. Okay, so if we put a fib on that as well, we know that that's going to be significant support. It doesn't even get through the 3.8. Okay, so it's very, very strong support. So we have a floor, and the bigger players will always buy off the major floors. If we come back here, where did they buy off? They bought off the floor. That was the bottom of the market, double bottom, and then look where all the buyers stepped in. Just after that floor was confirmed, the buyers stepped in and pushed it up massively. So where are we now? Well, we have a floor, and if we go down to a 60-minute chart, what we're going to see is that we have now broken the market structure for the last 2 weeks with this trend line. So all of the bigger players have actually already bought. They bought down here. Now, the reason they bought there was because they saw prices already rejected 3 times. They bought there on the divergence. There's your trend line. There's your divergence at the lows. So by buying there, they got significant reward to risk. Their risk is just below the low. They are aiming for the highs of the range. So they're looking for about 7 to 1. Okay, because what we can do is if we zoom out, we can see, let's remove some of these lines, is we have a clear range that we're trading within. Can you see that? We are locked into this rectangle consolidation. So in this sort of range, the bigger players are only selling from the high or buying from the bottom. How are they entering? They're entering on divergences and breaks of trend lines. Okay, so where we are trading from is smack dab in the middle. Okay, so however, there is a trade on for us. It looks like the sell is beginning to break up. But for me, if I'm looking to go short, I'm looking for a divergence and a break of a trend line. So let's put here's our key level on again. As you can see, it's hopping up now. There is no way I'm going to buy here because we're buying right into the money. However, if price rolls over and we get a hopper, then I will be looking for a trend line break to the south side. That will then confirm that I have an objective place to place my stop, which is probably up here somewhere. And then I can look to trade back down to the lower level, okay, which will be here, because that's where price was respected from earlier today. If price breaks above here, then you want to be looking for a pullback onto that level, because now that resistance will land as support, and then you can look for a buy higher, break of a trend line, and now you have an objective place to place your stop under. Now your stop will be protected by the strong level and the previous swing low, and you might have moving averages there as well. So just to briefly replay that, if we have a divergence here, I'm looking for a hopper lower. If we have a break of this level, I'm looking for a pullback onto the level for a buy into the moving averages, and then a hopper to go higher.
Absolute gold, bro. That right there, that break and retest, like waiting as opposed to FOMOing in on just a breakout. Dude, so much gold. Thank you so much. That was really special, guys. You're getting value. Like no one's dropped off, which I know you'd be crazy to link out of this right now. I get to watch all these 2 or 3 times because when I edit this for YouTube, I get to go through and listen on the go again. But like so good, Mike. Thank you so much. That was really, really special. Yeah, who feels confident trading tonight after that? But yeah, right in the middle of that zone and being aware of what's going on, like so important to zoom out, right? Like, yeah, when you zoomed out right there on that 4 hour, just, yeah, seeing, yeah, where that big money is, seeing those key levels. I'm just still looking at my chart right now and just taking in what you just said. Super fun. Anyways, don't want to ramble, but I need to pull the trigger. And Marie says, still learning from the masters. There you go. Man, it just takes time, right? And that's what demos are for. Like, just get used to pushing the button, really. Like, just break that. If some of us are too trigger happy and some of us are too trigger shy, whatever it is, just figure out what that mindset thing is and get into that place. Like tonight's perfect. Going and practicing and looking at a moment and then obviously doing it on demo and taking some trades is the thing that's going to do it. And just like Mike was journaling his wins, I guarantee you're going to learn twice as much from journaling your losses. When you think about, okay, like some of us might want to just forget them, but the only way to learn from them is to really know why you took that trade and why it didn't work. And that's how, like, you know, Mike can just look at a setup and just see, oh, here's my setup right here, and know because he's seen that pattern over and over and over again. So it's just time on the charts, guys. That's the thing. And so that's why I can never answer the question like how many months until I'm profitable. It's like I've got no idea. It's how many hours you are going to put on the charts, how you're going to manage those hours. Are you going to journal? Are you going to wing it? The opportunity is here, and it really is, I believe, the opportunity of a lifetime for us to be able to learn the skill set, create that freedom for ourselves and our families, and invite us on the journey. So guys, 8:48, I think it's time to leave it with that. I'm going to do some editing and have the charts open on the corner of my screen. But guys, another one. Yeah, we're getting close to Christmas. Super keen still to do a hangout. I know this side of Christmas might get a bit tight for us, but let me know who's keen. Maybe January will be a bit more realistic. I'd love to get everyone together and do a barbecue at my house or something. It'd be so fun to bring everyone together and have an event where we all just get to hang out, have some FaceTime. I'm sure some people will be driving a good distance for it. I know, Selena, you drive all the way from the Coromandel for our events in Auckland. So exciting, guys. Love this community. Love each and every one of you. Such a privilege to be running with you in this time in the season. And yeah, take the time, write those goals down, get clear on it, and believe that 2023 can be 2023. I'm believing for that. That's going to be a year that we step into more freedom than ever before. So, and you know, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. For each of us, we got to put in the work. Whatever you want it to be, we got to put in the work and show up and have a detailed plan, clear vision, and speak that vision out, write that vision down, print the thing out, keep it in front of you. If you've got a wall or a whiteboard, whatever it is, guys, if you're not seeing your goals in front of you on a daily basis, like for instance, it could be trading goals or vision boards, whatever. Like for me, This might be cheesy, but I've already framed my next rank poster. For me, I'm aiming for Platinum 5000, so I've got it right here on my desk in front of me, and I got another one upstairs. Like, I am committed to that goal in helping, you know, hundreds of lives. So whatever that thing is for you guys, print it out, get it in front of you, whether it's a vision board or whatever it is. You've got to think about that thing multiple times a day. Otherwise, if it's not baked into your psyche, it's not going to be reflected in your actions. So if you want to see radical acceleration in your life running into 2023, then take what we shared tonight and get serious about it. It's up to you. So anyways, enough rambling from me. Hope you guys have an incredible rest of your evening. I'll chuck a song on and let us go from here, and we'll see you all in the chat. Sweet. Good night, everyone.
First things first.